Welcome back. We're joined by Kevin Fowler, a young Alaskan filmmaker. How are you doing? Thanks so much for coming in.
I'm doing good, Dorene.
It's very kind of you to allow me to grab you as a guest while we're waiting for the congressman. I know he's making his way here. They said he'd show up sometime this hour, and since it's my last show, I'm going to be really kind to the congressman and not say mean things about him while he's making his way here.
I think that's a bad idea. I think you should go the other way with that and just say horrible, horrible things to him.
Really?
Yeah, you can get away with it. It's your last show.
Well, he's so nice, though. I like Don Young. I saw him at his birthday party, and the guy's 80, very fit, mentally and physically, and I asked him, you know, are you behaving yourself? Are you being good? And he gets all cute, and he's like, no. And I'm like, perfect. Then you're actually doing what you need to do for my state.
Nice.
He's been the only congressman I've ever voted for. What about you?
I don't normally vote, admitting that on TV, but yeah.
Why is it that you don't vote?
You know.
Is it because you're a felon?
Yeah, mostly. But no, it's, you know, I don't feel I know enough about the candidates usually to vote. Every now and then I do vote if, you know.
So you vote for the person you know?
Yeah.
Somebody you feel comfortable with because you have a personal connection?
Yeah, otherwise I feel my one vote that might be misdirected, you know, may not count, or it might, you know.
You know, I totally relate to that. A lot of times on the ballot, I will do a Chinese menu and pick and choose. Because I did have the one experience of one year I voted for somebody just because, you know, their name looked familiar to me, so I voted, whatever, so I just voted for them.
Why not, you know?
Yeah. And then I got to know them and realized what a jerk they were. And I was like, I am never doing that again. I am only voting for people when I've actually know a little bit about the person. I don't have to necessarily meet them, but at least I can know enough about them that I feel comfortable.
Very smart.
So I kind of respect that. That's much better than somebody who just shows up at the ballot box and fills in the oath.
Then sometimes people make you feel guilty for not voting, so it's a double-edged sword.
Okay, so there's no excuse not to vote on the propositions.
There is an excuse if you don't know what's going on with them. And I should know what's going on with them because I watch the news every day since I work for the news. But sometimes I just don't know what they mean. So that's another pick and choose one for me.
Really?
Yeah.
So what about things like this gas tax, the oil taxes? It's a very complicated subject, Senate Bill 21.
It is.
Right now they're going to be putting it on the ballot, so people have a choice. You know, do you want to repeal this action? Do you want to go forward with this action? It's confusing as can be. You hear both sides talk about the issue. They talk about it with great clarity. And
you know, like, you'll listen to one guy and they'll be like telling you like, oh, you got to vote no, you got to vote no. So like, and the way he explains it, you're like, oh, I got to vote no.
Makes perfect sense.
But then the other person's like, oh, no, no, you have to vote yes on that. And then they explain it completely different, and then I don't know what to vote on. It's very confusing. I get confused easy.
Well, what I have discovered is that on both sides, you have extremely articulate, intelligent individuals who know significantly more about the actual industry than I do. They've actually studied it out. They've listened to experts. They've read all of the, you know, material on it. I'm just Joe Schmuckatelli citizen, and granted, because I do this show, I have a little more knowledge than a lot of people do. But I'm not an expert in this. I don't know. In fact, that's why I get someone to represent me, is because they get paid as a job to go and understand all of this stuff. And although they don't make the right decision all of the time, I have to have some comfort that they make the right decision most of the time.
The thing I know about oil is it's for your cars. So that's I know a little bit more. It comes out of the ground, I understand.
Right. So you don't feel comfortable really with this idea either?
Yeah. Because, like I said, I'm not an expert. But it's so hard to be an expert. And I don't have time for that.
I think you're like most people. So then you have the proposition on legalizing marijuana. Another thing where both sides, you're just like, really? Because I grew up in Alaska at a time when
it was pretty much legal.
It was pretty much legal.
Yeah.
And I had these terrible memories of, you know, like going into the head shop and going, oh, really? You sell this just to... There was all kinds of social things that went along with that were not necessarily pretty. And it's not that I'm anti-marijuana, although I personally have never used the drug, never intend on using the drug. I understand that you know, there are people who, for example, use it for medicine, and it's a very valid thing.
And I have definitely never used it either. And I kind of think it's okay if it's used properly. But, you know, people can overuse it, and it can lead to other things. So it's really one of those things that...
It's often a gateway drug.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
So there is that school of thought that if it's illegal, it's just like prohibition, and the prices go high, and there's no
You got to go to shady drug dealers to get it, I understand.
Yeah.
When, you know, if it was just legal and out in the open, it might be, you know, more accepted. It might, you know, parents might be able to talk to their kids about it a little more honestly. And
like they do with alcohol and cigarettes.
Exactly.
And then there's the sin tax. We could tax it. As my understanding, then they grow it in the valley. It's some of the best in the planet, so that's the drug we could regulate. That would be a new source of income for that place. It's a hard question as well.
It is. You're asking me a lot of hard questions. I thought we were going to... So you're going to go hard on me and then go easy on the congressman. I see how it is.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. The last show, you said I could do what I wanted.
I guess. I should never have agreed to that.
Yeah, what were you thinking, Kevin? All right, well, we need to take a commercial break, so stick with us. We'll be right back in just a moment.